Hello, and welcome to our Builder of Choice Insights podcast today. We are so excited to have all of you here with us live. And for those of you who are watching us recorded, we love that you came to join us at a later time. We are here to talk about topics that help you become the builder of choice in your market. And today I have a very special guest, Kim Cobb from Green Tech Homes. And over the spring, her and her team joined us at a scheduling seminar. And I was blown away at the way her team interacted with each other and with her. She showed her leadership skills in a way that compares to no other. And so I wanted to invite her here to talk specifically about becoming a builder of choice and the way she leads her team. So welcome, Kim. Thank you for joining us today. I'm so appreciative that you were able to take some time with us to share a little bit about yourself and how you lead your team.
Thank you. I'm excited about being here.
Well, let's start off. If you could share a little bit about yourself, your journey in home building and what makes you passionate about it, and what your position is at Green Tech.
Okay. So I'm a director of field operations and warranty for Green Tech Homes. I've been in Chattanooga for about 7 years. I've been in the construction management for over 20. My journey started as a building inspector. I got into inspections over 20 years ago. So I was literally the only woman in the certification classes in every training. But I've always enjoyed challenges. I'm always looking for the next challenge. And that was definitely a challenge. It helped me learn to grow quickly because I learned really quick to be not only just young and a woman in the field. I had to get the knowledge of the codes in construction management and also the management of people and being able to build that relationship, to be able to tell somebody that had been doing work for over 30 years, older than me, telling them that, hey, you've got to do it a different way now. The codes have changed. So it was a challenge, but I learned and grew from it. It was amazing to be able to have the opportunity.
Oh, that's awesome. Can you share what is one thing that you're super passionate about this industry?
Wow, just one. I honestly I just love construction, but not just that. As I've grown into the leadership, I love building the teams that enjoy doing what they do and just see them improve. Like some of the stuff that we accomplished in just a few months or a few years is honestly just amazing. And to be able to go through the home, like the neighborhoods, and see the homeowners and love in their home and walk in. I park and walk when I go to our subdivisions. I want to walk. I want to see the people out cutting their grass and the kids playing in the road. And I want to see my project managers and, our home care specialists interacting with them and showing how we've built like this family in every subdivision.
Oh, that's beautiful. It's one thing that I love about home building too. I'm so passionate about the fact that as home builders, it's not about building a box, it's about building a life. And whether you're buying for a single guy or a single lady, a family, empty nester, or senior citizens, you're building a life where people go and they live their life every day. They have celebrations, they have happy moments, they have sad moments, they have moments where they're just sitting and watching a movie. But it's just so important to remember that's what we're building homes for. And I love that that's what you're passionate about, watching your families in your neighborhoods. That's beautiful.
Yes.
So I want to ask you, I have two questions and we talked about them in a different order, but I first want to know what sets Green Tech apart from other builders? Because that's super important for being a builder of choice. And I know it's a journey you guys have been on for about 1.5 years now that you're working very diligently to make sure that you can earn that in not only just because, but you're also trying to get the award as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I believe what sets Green Tech apart is honestly our leadership in our culture. So, the owner, Paul, and our head of operations, Chad, they care genuinely for every person working for Green Tech. And I feel like that caring just filters down to everybody in Green Tech that makes them every day want to come and do their very best. They inspire us to do our very best. And just recently, the leadership team got together and we created our mission statement and purpose and values. And we did it a little different because most people create it and then they are like, okay, now we got to create the culture to match this. we actually created the culture and then basically just clarified with our mission statement and values and purpose. And one of the things that, we had talked about when we were doing them, we were like, well, is this something just for the outside people to see, or is this something for inside? And we were like, it needs to be for both, because if we're not good on the inside, we're not going to be good on the outside. So I feel like the more we're cared for, the more we're not just building homes, we're building each other up. And and I just, it's when, you hear people say, oh, it's like another family. It truly is like another family. And we build each other up. We're there for the good times. We're there for the bad times. We do company trips together, but it's not just the fun. It's even the times of need and personal need, we are all there for each other. And that just filters down to every homeowner that we touch in our business.
That's so true. When you feel good about the people that you work with, the company you work with, it shines when you're talking to your customer. And so there's pride and there's ownership of what you're doing, so that when you're talking to the customer, you're like, I own this. I'm a part of this. And so you're able to present yourself and your product to the customer much better. So you're building homes with love, so to speak.
Yes.
And you're able to share that with your customers. So that would definitely set you apart from anybody else in your area, because people know if I'm buying a home from Green Tech, I'm buying a home that somebody really cared about the process and making sure that I love my home.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, so this is the question that I wanted to ask before we get into the meat of this, but can you share some of the goals and targets that your team focuses on, and then we'll kind of dive into how you make those things happen through your leadership?
Yeah, absolutely. We focus on customer experience, obviously build a quality home. And also, we still have to do the staying in budget and schedules. So a lot of our focusing is all combined to that, is to be able to build the best quality home with the best customer experience to every homeowner that we touch.
Oh, that's awesome. That would be like what we talk about in our superintendent class. And I think we talked about it in the scheduling class, time, cost, quality, the trident of the things that you need to be focused on to be a good builder. And I love that. And the piece that you have that's additional to that is the human side, where you're really focused on making sure that people who are working for you and the people you're working for are cared for.
Yes.
Okay. So last week, we got to spend some time talking, and I actually did read the book that you recommended. It was a very quick read, and it was beautiful how it was put together. So the book we read was Fish, and I think it's all caps with an exclamation point. But will you share a little bit about why you chose that book, and tell us a little bit about the book club, because you do have a book club for your team, and it's kind of funny because you don't really think of like, oh, I'm going to get my production team to read books. That's not something that's usually high on your list of things for people to think about. And so I love that's something that you did. Can you share how you got everybody excited about doing that and some of the books that you've done?
Yes, I'm super passionate about this. I look at it as, not everybody can leave the site and go off the trainings, but books are a great training tool and probably the least expensive, and getting together with that. And so we've started reading books all together. The project managers and the homeowner care specialist team, they get a little competitive, which is fun because they're like, hey, what chapter are you at? But we try to all set a goal. And then by the time we meet the next week, we talk about those chapters. And we have learned so much from the books that we've read. We've read different books from Contract to Close to Fish to Energy Buzz to Service Culture that we got at the Builder Show last year. It's amazing because I could read a book and then we could sit down at the table and everybody goes around the table and talks about what they've gotten out of the chapters. And sometimes my team gets something out of it that I didn't get. And I'm like, wow, that's amazing. I've even gone back and like, I'm going to reread that chapter because obviously I didn't pay attention like they did, or they just got something different. And it's a really good tool. It's helped us. We have created things like community teams from the Contract to Close book. We'll probably talk about that too, but the community teams has been amazing. But the book reading and fish. So fish was one of the ones that it just helps you learn to be there. I loved the main things was to be there, make their day, and choose your attitude. That's the three main things I got from it. And we can put that into the home building business in every way. So be there. That means when you're talking to a homeowner, don't look at your phone. Don't think about what you're cooking for dinner tonight. Be there, truly be there, listen to their concerns, and try to figure out what you can do for them. Make their day. We try to do that. We do special things like, the trusses are going up today. And we, our project manager is to take a picture and send it just unexpectedly. Just, hey, look, your trusses are going up today. Or look, I knew you were excited about the granite going in. Here's your granite. Make their day. Think about the things that you can do above and beyond. We do our normal Thursday calls and meetings, but do above and beyond that to make their day. And then choose your attitude. Every day is not going to be perfect. We're not all going to be smiling, but you can choose your attitude of how you handle every situation. And so that was one thing. And it's funny. Some of my project managers even said that book helped them even in their personal life, to be there and make sure they're truly listening to their family when they're talking to them. So I was very happy with those books.
Oh, wow. Well, and one thing too, I think about this a lot. Construction in of itself has a lot of uncontrollables. Like you can control as much as you can control, but every single thing that you talked about in that book is something that each person can control every single day. You can control listening to your client or your buyers, and you can control how you're going to make someone's day. And something you talked about just a little bit was coffee-worthy conversation, which is, I think, a great way to make somebody's day. So I'm going to have you clarify that. And then choosing your attitude, because there's so many things that you guys are dealing with in the field that make life challenging, whether something doesn't show up on time or something doesn't get done properly, or you have an issue with a trade or even just a buyer. Those are things you can't control, but you always can control how you respond to that and how you're going to show up for that event. So please share the coffee-worthy conversation.
Yeah.
I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, so we have community teams that we've created. It's the homeowner care specialist, the agent, and the project manager. Our design team's starting to join that too. But with that, they get together. We do trainings, and then every Thursday they call every homeowner to give them updates. But we don't want to just call and be like, "Hey, Miss Smith, your house is in framing. Talk to you next week." We want to build that relationship. We want to build the trust. If there's so many avenues that we can lose trust. So we've got to build the trust in every ounce that we can. And so we've added to that sheet and to our community team meetings with the homeowners is the coffee-worthy conversation. And so they talk about, they have to come up with something every week, and it's either they can talk about maybe the new amenities going into their subdivision. Maybe it's, hey, fall's coming up, or y'all planning some, pumpkin hay rides, or, hey, did y'all, are y'all into football? Did you see the football? But just doing just trying to build that relationship and not just all business, but also some conversation that's coffee worthy.
I think that's fantastic. I love it. It's beautiful. So let's move on really quick to the team that you were asked to bring on. You've been leading your production team for quite a while. And recently you've been asked to bring on the warranty team to lead the warranty team. Can you share a little bit about that experience and how you brought the two teams together to find solutions in their day-to-day operations?
Yes, absolutely. So, we decided to combine the production team and the warranty team together to be more proactive than instead of reactive. It's one of the things that always gets overlooked. I feel like warranty is just warranty. I realize, oh, you're always going to have warranty, but you can minimize what warranty you have, and giving, we call them homeowner care specialists, giving them a voice early, not just, hey, can you fix the squeaky floor for the 100th time? Giving them a voice to where they're getting in homes early. They're part of that community team. So they're walking homes at framing. They're walking homes, before flooring goes in. They're like, hey, Mr. Project Manager, in that community team, I noticed there's some floor screws missing. Also, they're seeing a lot of stuff that we don't see on the back end, some door things. Most recently we had some, water intrusion from a door, and we're like, okay, this is what we've got to start doing. So they are making huge changes in the field, and it can only make building the home even better and the customer experience even better, because the less items they have after closing is always the best experience.
Oh, absolutely. So tell me, how has that made an impact on probably your VPO process, I'd imagine, and your customer service scores?
Oh, man. So it's made, I have to give a huge shout out to our warranty team. They have done amazing in just a few months. So back it up just a little bit, we actually had the homeowner care specialist team. They're becoming, they're going to the closing walks, and they're basically saying, hey, I'm your person. We do a transition from sales to design to project manager. Now they're going from the project manager to the homeowner care specialist. They're starting to build that relationship. They're going to start calling like in advance before closing, starting to get that relationship going. With that, and also just some of the process that we put in, we have warranty, homeowner care specialist teams. They are assigned to certain neighborhoods. So anybody that has any problem in this neighborhood, they know who they're supposed to be calling. And with that, just in a few months, they have taken their Guild quality scores over 30% raise. So they are up to, we went from like a 54 to an 80%, and that was in a few months. And they're still getting 5 stars daily. So they're doing an amazing job. And yes, on the VPO, it will help tremendously with catching some of the stuff that they're catching on the front end, and making sure that we implement processes to catch it during the construction phase instead of after the closing. So it's been amazing. Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I had a question that was coming up while you were talking, and now I can't remember it, but I'll come back to it.
Okay.
Oh, I know. Brian and I were with one of his friends over the weekend, and they built a home in Minnesota. And I was asking them very specific questions about how their experience was with the builder, because it's always good to get, like, I'm not a builder, so I get very honest feedback when I'm talking to people about it. And one of the things that she said, and it sounds like what you're working on, is that she really appreciated the constant communication and the really intentional communication, and not like, oh, it's all sunshines and rainbows like we were talking about the other day. But she was talking to him about the issues that were coming up and the solutions that they were working on to solve those problems, and really just being available for the buyer. And she felt comfortable through the whole process. And she was doing a fully custom home. So that's, those have lots of unknowns, but she was like, it's the communication. And so a lot of times I think builders are like, oh, I don't know. I know that I hear a lot more builders talking about communication, but I think it's honestly the number one thing that buyers are really looking for from their builder to feel comfortable about the homes that they're building.
Absolutely. So our company, when I say that we've got the warranty scores up, about a year and a half ago, we had a goal of getting our overall Guild quality scores up to at least 90%, and we did that and even won an award. But one of the things that we did is we read every single survey that came through, and almost every single one of them talked about communication. And so we had to start kind of looking at ourselves, because we started the Thursday calls, we were communicating, but we weren't really communicating. And that's what homeowners want: transparency. They want to know if the tile's delayed. Of course, you don't want to put them in, and scare them every time something little happens. But we learned a hard lesson during COVID when everything was getting delayed, and we were like calling every week, oh, everything's good. But then it came down to, it wasn't good. We weren't going to hit their closings because we had tile delays and window delays and every delay possible. So we try to take that information now, and of course, we want to take the burden of the stress, and we want to be able to help them find a new tile or new lighting if it is discontinued, but At the same time, we want to keep them informed, and we want to not just keep them informed is, to, hey, there's a delay, but is this going to affect your closing date? The minute you start a house, the first question you have is, when are we closing? Like, it could be the day we're doing the footings, and they want to know what their closing date is. And that's because that's their end goal. That's where all their life rotates around. They have moving trucks and selling another home and kids getting in school. And so they need that information. But not only do they need that information at the beginning, they need it throughout. They need security to know, hey, we're still looking good on your date, or hey, we've had a few delays. This could delay us. I'm going to keep you posted every week and let you know. And so I think the biggest thing is not just communication, but very much transparency with the communication.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, and it's funny because I'm listening to you talk, and you as a builder are the guide, the leader for your buyer. And in so many different books I've read, there are 4 words that are really important that people are looking for in a leader. And that's trust, compassion, stability, and hope. And in that one conversation, you displayed that you're offering trust, you're offering compassion because you're understanding your buyer, stability, that you're there to make sure that things run smoothly, and hope that they're going to be able to live in this home where they're going to start their life in a beautiful home. So I love that you're displaying 4 of the key components of leadership, just even as a builder, and not even just as leading your team. Okay, I think you and I talked a little bit about your feedback loop and the forms that you created, and how that has improved your process. Can you share a little bit about how you've been able to get your team? Because I know there's a lot of times where I'm sitting and I'm listening to home builders, and they're talking about the warranty department, the construction, sales, like everybody's kind of in their own departments, and they're always like, well, it's sales fault. Oh, it's warranty's fault. Oh, it's construction's fault. Oh, it's purchasing's fault. And it sounds like you're working on a system to get everybody on the same page, or at least communicating, so you can get feedback back to the beginning of the process so you can make improvements.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do, it's called fast fill forms, but basically it's just having internal quality forms. And we do that for every phase, all the way from staking to foundation to framing. And on those forms, every project manager does their own quality walks. But the forms, I created the forms, but like I told them, I'm not walking them. And things change daily in construction. There's so many things that can change. There's so many processes that we need to, include. And so everyone has they could give me the feedback as like, hey, Kim, I don't think we really need this part, but we could use this. And then I bring it to the team, and everybody agrees, and we update the forms. And that can go all the way from the homeowner care specialist team to the project managers, anybody using the form. If they think something needs to be added or changed, or a new form, they call me the fast fill form queen, because I'm always like, I could do a form for that, because I love my forms. They help me stay organized, and I think they help us stay on track on what we're doing. So we did have an issue, and this kind of goes into like dealing with the trades out in the field. And my thing is, if we're ever having issues with the trades, we like to bring them on site and talk to them through it, just as if they were having a problem with us. We want them to communicate with us, right? And so we recently created a new form because we were having issues with like frozen pipes during the winter. And so to get the solution, I brought the plumber, we brought the plumbing out, we brought the insulating guy out. We had also the project managers, homeowner care specialists. We were all there. It was one big party in the cold looking at these frozen pipes. But the biggest thing was we wanted to figure out the solution, and not only the solution, but also the buy-in from the trades. And with that, we came up with a process, and we created a new form to make sure that we were following that process. And so hopefully this year we won't have any issues with that. But that's just an example of not only having the project managers and the homeowner care specialists, but also our trades buy-in and their feedback on what we need to be looking at during these quality walks.
Oh, that's awesome. And that's what's so important too, right? Like, you can send out forms all you want, and people will look at them and they may just check off stuff just because they're checking off. But because that's what you told them to do. But I think what you're saying is like, hey, I've created a form. I think this covers everything. Can you take a look at it and let's go through this together to make sure that it works for what I require as the leader of the team and what you need to know. Because I think you mentioned when we talked the other day too, you're like, some of the forms I've created, I had way too much detail, things that that were getting too nitty gritty, that were like, if they've checked this thing off, it automatically checks off a couple of things. And so they brought that to you, and that was going to be, I mean, that could be a hard conversation for them, but obviously there's a very good relationship between you and your team, that they feel comfortable coming to you and having a conversation with you about the forms. And with that, it creates the buy-in, correct?
Yes, absolutely. And I want these forms to be where they're a helping tool, obviously not wasting their time. And I want it to be where, hey, this is something I need to be looking at. This probably, this is something that we're always is fine. We don't need this on the form. So the more buy-in I get is it's more like their form, not mine. It's theirs. Right. And they're filling it out just to make sure they're checking off and reminding themselves of each box.
Yeah. Well, and these forms, are they helping you also understand where you are in relationship to your goals and targets too? Do they help keep the team accountable?
I think they do on the quality side, doing our own quality walks and then looking back. And we also have an outside source that comes in and does our final quality walk. So we can kind of compare on how we're scoring with that on how well we did on our own internal quality walks. So I think that does definitely help us with, trying to maintain our quality and time management on those goals.
Oh, excellent. Yeah. All right. We talked about community teams. So let me ask you, you already gave kind of an example of how you work with your trades, but things don't always run smoothly. And you are a super positive person. And your motto to me when we talked, you get to come to work every day. You get to be part of this team. But sometimes there's going to be times where you have to have really hard conversations. And I think a lot of times people think, well, if I'm going to have a hard conversation, it has to be mean, it has to be direct, it has to be, But you and I talked about how you approach those hard conversations and the results that you get from that. Can you share a little bit about how you do your hard conversations differently?
Yeah, absolutely. When it comes to the traits, like I said, we like to do a one-on-one most of the time in the field first. If we're having an issue with quality or our scheduling, we like to show them. And it's not just like show them or talk to them about the problem, but show them the why and how it affects the company and them overall. If we're not building on time or quality homes and we're not getting the referrals for word of mouth, then they're not getting the business either. And so it all comes down to, hey, we're trying to help you, you help us, and we'll help you. And so I think having them come out and take a look and really truly putting their eyes on it, text messages, emails, things like that, it just doesn't work in those situations. And so we bring them out, show them the situation, and try to be more solution driven to try to move forward. And then the same conversations like with my team, if we have to address something, I'm always trying to give the reason why, or tell them why and the reason behind it, how it's affecting the overall company. Like I said, we have an amazing team. We work for the most amazing leadership, and everybody, I believe, even our trades, want to come and do the best that they can. But we're all human. So sometimes we have to, take a step back and say, okay, you're right. I need to be doing this better. Let me, and I'm always there to try to help support that and try to make sure they have everything, all the tools they need to be able to be successful.
Mm-hmm. And, speaking on that, because I think that gains a lot of respect from your team as well as your trades. And you earned an award a couple years ago, didn't you? Employer of Choice?
Yes. So our company, yes, we are Employer of Choice, which is amazing. Our next one will be Builder of Choice. Yes. What we're going for. But yes, it was amazing getting that award.
And I would imagine that some of the feedback that you got during that process is that you guys are very fair, that you communicate very well with your team, that you show good leadership. I mean, giving the scenario that you're giving right now, I would want to work for somebody that is willing to not sit there and tell me you did all this wrong, but really sit down and have a conversation and go, hey, we're struggling here, and this is the problem. This is why it's a problem, and this is what it's affecting. Together, let's find a solution, which is something that you read about in Stephen Covey and all of those other leadership books that really talk about when you are giving feedback to somebody, that you're really conscientious of how you're giving the feedback and that you're really working for a common goal and a common solution rather than trying to beat somebody down.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think, just as you want to be respected and talked to, I think doing that to anybody, you're talking to, I think just really helps them, buy into wanting to do their very best and wanting to make that change to make the company better and themselves.
That's amazing. You guys are amazing. That's why I asked you to be on here. Okay. I have two more questions for you because we're getting to the top of we're at the half-hour mark. But
okay.
And this was something that I thought was really important because you and I talked about this, and I didn't want to draw attention to the fact that you're a woman because I think you're doing a fabulous job, and I don't think it makes a difference. Yeah. It doesn't make any difference that you're being a woman. But one of the things you kind of mentioned at the very beginning, there's some things that you've done to help you become a strong leader. And I think whether you're a man or a woman, these things that you talked about last week are vital for success in leadership. Can you share a little bit about what you talked about, being knowledgeable and always being prepared, and what you do to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I learned early that to be able to gain the respect is to, basically just try to learn as much as I can. Funny story, when I became an inspector, I wanted to be able to go to a panel because anybody that does electrical, they know the sheathing's cut off, and so I wanted to be able to touch the wire and know what size the wire was without having to read the sheathing. So I would go in Home Depot, off time, go in Home Depot, and I would literally go through filling the wire and testing myself as if it's number 10, number 12, number 14. And basically, that's just an example of just always trying to learn. It's always constantly changing. When I first started, we were having to go back to the job trailer and make phone calls. Then we had the phones, and now a computer, and now we're on computer software systems, which is amazing. But just always never getting too comfortable and where you're at, and always willing to change and learn. I always used to say that if the day that you think you know it all is the day that you need to retire, because you will never know it all in this business. And I don't want to. That's the most challenging thing. I'm always learning, if it's from books, if it's from training, if it's from our knowledgeable trade contractors. You can learn so much from them if you just talk to them, ask them, hey, why are you doing this? And I would do that so much when I was in the field more. That was my go-to is, if the bricklayer was doing something, why are you doing it that way? They've been doing it for so long, they can tell you why they're doing it that way and why it should be done that way. So, the biggest thing I learned is, being a woman, I couldn't be out there and just not know what I'm doing. So, starting off, in my 20s and, just coming out there, I had to know as much as I could know. And but I never acted like I knew more than anybody. So there's a fine line of, you don't want to be cocky where you are acting like you're a know-it-all, but at the same time, you do want to have that knowledge base to be able to have a conversation with a trade or an inspector or, whoever you're having a, homeowner, to be able to build their confidence that, hey, okay, this person does know what they're talking about. And if you don't know what you're talking about, tell me, I'll find out for them and get back with them. Everybody has a situation where they don't know the answer, but as long as you get back with them, they're good with that. So yeah.
So knowledgeable and humble all at the same time.
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah. And the courage to just do it, right? Every day you get up and you just do it. So,
I feel like it's like we talked about it, it's not that I have to go to work. I get to go to work. I love what I do. And And I'm excited. And, they say it's how you feel on Sunday night is
Mhm.
if you have the right culture, you have the right place you're working for. And, on Sunday nights, I'm excited about coming back to work on Monday. And so it's basically, I love what I do and I absolutely love the company. So we have definitely built that culture for leadership to love what they're doing.
Uh-huh. And your leaders definitely pour into every single one of you. It starts at the top
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
everything starts at the top, right? The
Yes,
culture, the attitude, all of it starts at the top and it cascades down. And it's
absolutely.
something they pour into their leaders, they pour into their team, they encourage you to learn and grow and be
Mhm.
there for your buyers. So it's just a really neat culture. I've enjoyed seeing all of you guys together from our executive summit a year and a half ago
Yeah.
to the scheduling seminar, watching you guys work together. It's just you can see the amount of respect that you have with each other and for each other and the desire to make each other better. And I think one of the things you said was your team, if you gave an example of one of your guys being on paternity leave and
Mhm.
it wasn't even a big deal where, some teams where they're like, ugh, they're gone and now I have to take extra work. But
Yeah.
when you talked about it, your team was like, oh, go enjoy your family, go enjoy your baby.
Yes.
We've got you. We've got you covered. If we need anything, we'll figure it out, but we've got you
Yes.
covered.
Yes. Our team is amazing. And yes, one of our teammates just had a baby. And I had project managers saying, hey, I can help out in their subdivision. We want to make sure he's home with his child and enjoying his family. And it was never oh, I got to go over there. I had one project manager going back and forth between, multiple subdivisions, but he was there doing quality walks, doing homeowner walks. The other project manager was jumping over there, taking half the houses. They're like, hey, we'll make this work until he can get back. And the team, like they're so good at working together. Like I said, we're always competing about something. So we're always like, right now we're all on a health kick. We decided to do that together. And so we're like, how many pounds have you lost? How many, so we're all trying and then we even post pictures on our group chat on how many steps we got each day and what workouts we did. So we're very competitive, but when it comes to time of need, every single one of them are there for you. I mean, if you're sick, if you're out, if you just need an extra hand, we're like, hey, I've got multiple homeowner walks today. They are there to help each other. And so I'm super proud of my teams with that.
Oh, I have a question for you that came from our audience. Mike,
Okay.
he says, Kim,
Uh-oh.
what's one of the X factors in your culture that you've created at Green Tech Homes? What is the one thing that sets you guys apart if you had to brag about it?
Oh, wow. The one thing that sets us apart, I would say it's honestly just the build up of teams, the support and the love that's just filtered down to each teammate. I mean, and like I said, it starts from the beginning, starts from the top. Our company owner, they don't pour money into private jets or, crazy homes. They literally put it back into the company. We're all going to Alaska in a couple weeks together. We do company trips together, and it's the building that culture is love, support, and also being able to have those difficult conversations. But you've already built that love and support, so you're okay to take. And trust me, I get it, and my guys get it. We all get it. We're like, hey, these job sites, we need to do this. But having that relationship and that trust built before you're getting, all the things you're supposed to be fixing, really, like I said, just makes us want to come and do our best in every way that we can. And so, I beat myself up more than anything, and I'm really bad about that. You could come through and be like, hey, you should really work on this. And I'm like, I'm on the phone trying to fix it right that minute. I'm like, okay, we're going to work on it right now. It's going to be fixed in like 5 minutes, but it's just having that feeling to where you trust who you work for and you trust the people that you work with to the point that even if you're going through hard times or you're having to do a new process or create a new process, you have that support and you feel good about it. So
that's awesome. Okay, we're at the end of our time, but the final question, Kim. What is the one thing you hope our listeners can take from our conversation today?
I would say the one thing I would hope they take is that home building is much more than just building homes. It's about building people, relationships, and trust. And when you focus on the culture and communication and truly caring for the people, the quality of the homes and the homeowner experience naturally just follow behind it.
Boom, mic drop. I don't think we have to say anything else. I think that's beautiful, Kim. I love it. And it's something I've been preaching to as well, is like, hey, remember, you're not just building boxes, you're building lives. Gracie says you are so inspiring. So
that's my daughter.
Gracie. Gracie, thanks for listening to us today. You are inspiring, Kim. I love listening to you. I love seeing you. I love it when you come to our events. You just light up the room, and I can see that you light up Green Tech as well with your positivity and your mindset for growth, your mindset for love, and for just getting to go to work every day, getting to be part of that team, and really just focusing on building a good home, building a good team, and being part of a great company.
Yes, so, I'm very blessed. Very blessed.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Kim. I appreciate it. And thank you, all of you, for spending your time with us today. Join us again. We have lots of great stuff coming down the pike. So keep your eyes open for our next webinar and podcast. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.